Welcome to the Buy Box Bandits podcast.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Buy Box Bandits podcast presented by Boxem. If your current shipping software is giving you any issues, consider trying out a 2-week free trial of Boxem. Boxem's by far the best shipping flow, especially post Amazon update. You can see, tutorials on YouTube in terms of how to use it. But today we have a very special guest. Some might say the best dunker in the Amazon community, your favorite Amazon seller basketball player, and someone who I believe most likely did over $1 million on Amazon his first year, but definitely, $100K a month within 6 months and everything. So we're joined by one of my firstborn sons, actually, EcomHish today. So welcome to the party, man.
Appreciate you for having me, man. Thanks a lot, man. But blessed to be on here with you guys.
Oh, man, absolutely. So we've seen you really come up over the past, 18 months or so. So when we met, it was in July of 2023, and you were completely new to the game, but I knew there was greatness in you when some FBM stuff sold very quick, which tends to be a sign of aura early in the mix, right? Honestly, though, right? That does tend to be a good sign and everything, man. But all jokes aside, someone who really figured this stuff out quick and everything, man. So you want to just, provide some context on who you are and what made you get into selling on Amazon?
Yeah, definitely. First things first, Uncle Flip's the GOAT. Appreciate you, man, for all the help and whatnot. You've helped me a long ways in becoming an entrepreneur and scaling my business. So can't thank you enough. And in the beginning, the first thing I searched up right after high school was like, all right, how to make money online, right? Because that's, I wanted to be an entrepreneur any way that I could. So I just searched it up. Amazon FBA came pretty straightforward. So I just, decided to go with that. Started watching your YouTube videos, started getting a hang of things. And then, once I joined the program, right off the bat, I wanted to get some money in my pocket. So I just hit up the local Nike outlet right next to me down the street. Got some products in hand, sold some FBM right away, like you said. And from that point on, I just began to double down on what worked, kept scaling the business and, asked Papa Hish and some other people in the family for some loans if they'd be willing to. And then
the rich uncle method. Yeah, the rich uncle method. More young men need to research that method of capital scaling.
Yeah, I remember actually asking you that question. You were like, you told me to bring up some, ask some family, and that's what I did. And from that point on, just kept double down on what worked and kept the business scaling from there.
Yeah. So you did, I believe it was over $100,000 of revenue your first December, right?
Yeah, it was like 101,000 or something.
Boom. So bro, that's not bad. Literally 6 months in. What are you 20 yet, or you're still 19?
I just turned 20 like a few weeks ago. So yeah.
Boom. Exactly. Right. So that's not bad. First 6 months in, a year ago, literally, 19 right there, putting up, $20,000 of profits. Not bad whatsoever, but that's a far cry from what the operation looks like today. So fast forward us now and walk through. So you're obviously in the commercial space there and everything. So break down what your operation looks like these days, because it's, significantly expanded.
Yeah. So, one thing is for sure is like I was in my parents' garage. All right, bro. So it was just like it was getting super cluttered. Obviously the space was getting too tight, so I knew I had to expand. And my dad is actually in wholesale as well. Different, not Amazon, but just a different aspect of wholesale. So he has his own warehouse, and I decided to ask him if I could just like sublease it from him, in which I did. So I was kind of grandfathered into it, which is kind of cool. But yeah, so as soon as I got that opportunity, I had everything sent over to the warehouse. Still killing the OA operation. I got some VAs working for me now, and we're leveraging all kinds of things. I mean, I live in California, sales tax state, but I mean, we're leveraging tax exemption and stuff like that. But I mean, right now we're in a 2,500 square foot warehouse, and we're scaling the business. Got some local distributors that we're buying from pretty often. So, it's a growing operation, and it's we're trying to expand as much as possible, and even touching on some PL too as we speak. So that's kind of going well too.
So, I mean, obviously you're someone that saw success early and often, right? And a lot of people run into hiccups, the first couple months of all the different aspects of the business. Did you have anything that came up within the first couple months that were like, this kind of sucks, or like you had to overcome?
Yeah, definitely. Even kind of now, I'm obviously in business, you go through those trials and and whatnot, and you kind of have to overcome them as they come. But yeah, I would say my biggest thing in the beginning was definitely, and I see this a lot too with all the new guys that come in. This is just like, ungating and finding that first product, and that's one thing that obviously I feel like discourages a lot of new guys and even myself in the beginning. But That, and then obviously, there was definitely some times where I bought some inventory and I had to lose money on it because I didn't look at the market correctly and the data correctly. So I mean, little things like that was like, ah, it sucks. But I mean, luckily I have a family full of entrepreneurs. So I mean, I know that comes with the game, and you just gotta
How
learn
much
to
how
do it.
much impact do you actually think that had on the success you had, right? Because so I'm someone who had both parents, very corporate 9 to 5. Miles,
Yeah.
kind of the opposite, right? His family has some entrepreneur blood in them.
Yeah.
But like for
Yeah.
you, how much did that affect you early on?
Yeah, like are you speaking about like the having like a family of entrepreneurs, or are you saying as
Yeah, of
far as
course.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
the
yeah.
mindset and because I
Oh,
I
dude.
know some people who are from awesome families, entrepreneurs, and the like standard of excellence and the expectation is really cool. How like it's not just being good at business and everything. So I think it's a phenomenal thing.
It's also just like the instilled confidence, right? It comes a little different where for parents who they only know 9 to 5 corporate, right? So
Yeah,
they're definitely gonna not if
100%.
they necessarily portray it, but have a little more hesitation than someone
Yeah.
like Miles's family.
Hesitation's a very good way to put it. A
No, thousand
phenomenal way
percent.
to put it. Yeah.
Yeah. And to kind of add on top of that, like Miles, we're ballers. So like
I was
obviously at
just
the
gonna bring that shit up too.
you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, bro, you already know. So
You
like
gotta take what's yeah, you gotta take what's yours. You know what I mean? Like, dude, if like when when you go into the AAU tournament your first time and when you're like in sixth grade and you lose by 40 and like these dudes just walked onto the court and they just took that shit from you. Business is
dude,
the same way, but if you go and you
literally.
take what's yours, you get financial resources and more
Yeah,
options in life, and that's a fucking beautiful thing.
100%. Beautiful thing. Yeah, that's the cool thing about being an athlete too, is just like it gives you that work ethic, from to transition from sports to being an entrepreneur. So yeah, I would say family played a massive role. I mean, my dad's been an entrepreneur his whole life, so I mean, he supported the idea. Obviously, wanted me to stay in school until I've scaled to the point where obviously I don't have to do that anymore. So I mean, he was very supportive of it, and I think yeah, your community plays a massive background, and I was fortunate enough to have a really good background as far as supporting me.
Sure, and so let's talk about, right? So you're the community that previously was in your life heavily conditions you, right? Whether it's
Definitely.
people around you, we can all agree on that, right? But furthermore, right? Who you hang around in the past conditioned you to this point. Who you hang around now conditions you to future points, right? And that's
Definitely.
why we talk about like being in the mix so often, right? Because who you talk to about selling Amazon is going to influence the results you get selling Amazon, right? So naturally, if you're someone listening to this right now that doesn't have anyone in their life that sells on Amazon, completely get it. We all started that way too, right? But you can substantially improve your life if you change that. And the cool thing is, all of that costs no money, right?
Definitely.
All of that costs no money. Facebook groups, Discords, meeting people who think like you, sharing your personality, sharing your hobbies, finding commonalities with people. All of that really, really positively influences you and actually ends up saving you a ton of time, making it a lot more fun. And that's super, super important. But on
Yeah.
the athlete side of things, so you were lucky, man, because you were in high school. You were probably high school class 2023, right?
Yeah, 23, yeah.
I love how dudes always say like they don't really know what. Like I bet you Garrett doesn't know what high school class he was in either.
I almost said 24. I forgot. I literally just forgot. I was
No,
like,
I'm the
yeah,
same
yeah,
way too. Yeah, bro. When I be asking people, or when people ask me too, I'm the same way. But you had a nicely compressed time frame. But man, the
yeah,
world can just beat down some of these guys in their mid 20s and late 20s and early 30s, or you know what I mean? Like, and it's so important to just take life by the horns, right? And just really get after with the stuff. And selling on Amazon ends up being such a positive outlet to do that because your results are so tied to your inputs, right? Very similar to sports, right? And that if you have a bad game, you don't feel good about it, right? But if you have a good game, you feel really good about it, and it typically makes you go harder. Same exact thing with business. So talk about kind of like how you think your background athletically positively benefits this, because there's kids that they might not be windmilling like you, but they might be hitting glass on the hitting the backboard on layups and everything, right? And have that background and want
yeah.
something to go put that aggression and that competitiveness into it that they're not getting at their corporate gig. So talk about how that sets you up for success and what that looks like working with the boys and everything these days.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a very good point to bring up. Is like in the beginning, especially when you're first starting out, this having those thoughts of like getting discouraged and not knowing if this is gonna work out. It's part of the game, and if you let that succumb to you, then this just might not be for you. You know what I mean? And as an entrepreneur, you have to understand that, when the times are rough, that's just when to go. That's when to double down on and go even harder, right? And it builds more than a business builds character, right? And I know it's cliche, but shit's
So
true.
true, bro.
It's true. But I mean, yeah, I mean, I just think for sure, like being able to also, I always say this, right? I'm very supportive of like, going to school 9 to 5. I mean, all stuff's great, but I mean, at the end of the day, I just feel like the way people are raised in the system today is like they're taught to not really socialize, not like to do things by yourself. There's only one right way to do it. And that couldn't be further from the truth. Leverage it like you said, Miles, back in the day, like hopping on court with the boys and just sharing those banging asins and spending 5, 10, 20 grand with each other and laughing about it, making some like it just doesn't get better than that, right? And just having that community is like it's a cheat code, right? It's a legal cheat code to make money and to enjoy it.
So
Yep.
how do you so after school, right? As still a young kid, how do you structure your day around business, around doing things that you like to do, like your daily
Yeah.
routine?
Yeah, so I mean, I think, and that's why like being an athlete in the beginning is cool too, because like when you're a high school athlete, like you have to structure your days to where you can get schoolwork done, obviously play ball, slow train, all that good stuff. So it really was a smooth and easy transition to business, right? As far as like knowing when to obviously get the priorities done, get your work done, send out FBM orders, and make sure that you're on top of the VAs and all that good stuff, and also helping clients. And there's a lot that goes into it, but the cool thing is like you get to structure your own days to the point where I'll just wake up, I hit the gym early in the morning, come to the warehouse, get my work done, and I'll typically end the night off with getting some shots up at the gym because I have the keys to my old high school, which is super sick. So, um, yeah, it's a pretty chill lifestyle. You know what I mean? I love it. I think as men, we just need a few things in our life to make us satisfied. And
Bro, that's
I mean,
You
like
don't
too
need to
many
start
guys
wilding about
overcomplicate
that.
it. Yeah, too many guys overcomplicate it, man. It's like you don't need a lot, bro. Like you just need a few things that make you like not even happy, just make you satisfied, right? I mean, being a man is just constantly putting in the work. That's all it is.
But it's different for everyone, right? So like for Miles, he just yearns for the day where he can actually touch the rim or touch the backboard even, or even
I
even touch
never
the
thought.
net.
Yeah.
But for everyone, it's different, right? So like for you in 2025, having said all that, what are some of your aspirations business wise that you're shooting for? Is it a specific revenue number? You talked about
Yeah,
some private label. You talked about expanding into
yeah.
wholesale. So what's the game plan for 25?
Yeah, so I think obviously too many guys, and I'm learning this too. Like I'm not by no means am I at a point where I'm just super. I know everything, right? I always know there's more to learn, especially not in the ecom style lifestyle. But definitely continue what's working, right? I mean, don't stop what's making the money, don't stop what's breaking bread. So like obviously delegating. I feel like outsourcing things as far as like automating the OA side of things completely to where I don't even have to show my face in that and continuously bringing in 6 figures a month in revenue. That's been my goal, just to kind of maintain that. And then aside from that, obviously delegate the wholesale side of things too, where I have my cousin Malik's been a huge asset with me as well. Dude's an absolute beast. Like, bro, literally just works all day, and just having like someone like that's like keeps me pushing too. So, he and I have been going hard as far as like OA sourcing, and I'm gonna have him delegate some tasks because we both have two different accounts, but he's definitely helping my account as well at the same time. But I'm trying. My biggest goal is to build something for myself too, right? As far as PL goes, because I feel like at the end of the day, reselling is a fantastic route. It's like Miles, you talked about this, bro. You said like you know use this as like a train to obviously get you to your final destiny, right? Or your final, your destination. In this case, the way I look at it is reselling is the point to where I could stack up as much capital as I have and obviously unload it into my own brand and kind of learn that and build some equity in myself.
Yeah, oh, for sure. And yeah, like the way I think about it, because like especially like, a lot of people get in this and they, you go do retail arbitrage once or twice and you're like, I'm gonna do that for the next 30 years. Like definitely not what, maybe not for outside the next couple weeks, right? I'll learn
Yeah,
arbitrage a lot
yeah,
better and everything.
exactly.
Right. But arbitrage is a great way to buy your time back, which you done, Garrett did, I did, right? Now a couple years later, still got, really deep in the Amazon space, a lot of other stuff going on too. That you just build out naturally. And, one thing I like to think about, I forget who said this, but so it was someone who made a bunch of content and when I was getting started, but they said, don't be an Amazon seller, be an entrepreneur. That's so true, right?
Facts.
That's so true, right? And especially don't be a reseller, right? Or at least, solely platform. Like a bunch of people in 2024 expanded into selling on Walmart. Look into that, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
Selling
definitely.
locally, right? Or the wholesale business model on top of the arbitrage model. And that, really,
Sure.
really positively benefits you long term too. and
Yeah.
everything. So now that you've been in the game, it's crazy like how quick time flies. But been around a little while, right? What are some traits you see in successful sellers? Because you've seen a lot of people crash and burn naturally as we have, as well as a lot of people thrive. So what are those things you see from people who end up killing it with arbitrage?
I think the biggest thing is because I feel like so many guys come in this business and they think so structurally. They think like, okay, things have to be done this way and this way only. And it's like, dude, like you just have to like let loose and just like go with the flow and whatever happens, happens. Right. And I feel like that is such a great lesson, not even just Amazon, but in life. And that's why I say when it comes to successful, sellers, they'll literally do anything um to succeed, right? They don't watch the clock. They don't obviously they don't watch the clock. They don't worry about the things that people that have a structured mindset would worry about. They just constantly put in the work 24/7 and they leverage the resources, right? As far as the guys they're doing this with, the resources, the people that they're learning from. Like being in a network and a community of guys that are already doing it is literally going to expedite your process so much more compared to doing it by yourself. And I feel like so many guys are ignorant to that. And they feel like, if I don't even know. They just like they don't understand like that if you just have the right network around you to do this with, it's only going to expedite the process. Like, don't make it hard on yourself when you don't have to.
Yeah, and
But I
there's
mean, to
no
your
point.
point, right? And like kind of going off that, like figuring it out mentality, order cancel is a huge thing, a part of scaling our way. It's not
Yeah,
stopping
facts.
at the first cancellation. It's okay, what if I adjust the quantity? What if I adjust the billing address? What if I use another credit card? Right? What if
Yeah,
I ship it to another state? What if
100%.
I do all these? What if I ask customer service to place the order for me? All these sorts of problem solving capabilities, in turn, get you to build out an entire toolbox of SOP of ordering from all different sites, right?
Yeah.
So now you're going to build out infrastructure to order from Dick's at a particular way, from
Hmm.
Macy's a particular way, full all those sorts of things. You
Yeah,
learn that from experimenting by iterating, with trial by error, and then compounding that with 4 or 5 people that are doing the same thing. Well, now you're unbeatable.
exactly. Yeah, 100%. I was just getting questions asked from that the other day from someone like, how do I bypass order cancellations? It's like, and
You just figure
literally,
it out.
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
unfortunately,
that
that is the answer though, man. Try a bunch of stuff.
it really is. Yeah. Just do as much as you can and what works, stick with it. Right. And that's part of being an entrepreneur. You gotta figure shit out. You know what I mean? It's simple
Yeah,
as that.
that's a very good micro example of kind of like the macro of what it looks like to be a successful Amazon seller is those
Yeah.
little things. And that like, some people will be like, okay, it's like, all right, submit the email for the ungate. It's like, okay, how do I download the email? It's like what you look up, okay, how to download emails, right? Then it's like, okay, I got denied, resubmit. How many times can I resubmit? Don't worry about it. You just keep
Just
submit till it goes through. Yeah,
literally.
you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
submit, like have a little confidence in yourself, man. Have a little fun. You know what I mean? Like we're making money online. It's 2025, right? 99.999% of humans would kill to be you, right? To be able to make money online in
Yeah.
2025, right?
100%. 1,000%.
Things could be a lot worse, man. Things could be. That's what
Yeah.
I always tell the young guys when they'll say like they get discouraged, like, bro, 80 years ago, me and you would have been in the trench in World War II, right?
Mhm.
How lucky are we, man? How lucky are we? And
Extremely
everything.
lucky. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So to kind of get back to like the super like tactical side of things. So when did you really like be like, oh, okay, like holy crap, like selling on Amazon really works? Was it Q4 of 2023 or was it prior to that? And like what made you be like that? For me, if I like would like to bring up what I feel like it is for most sellers, it's like first time you sell like 50 of something one day, you're like, wow. Right. But what was
Yeah.
that moment for you?
Yeah. So you're saying as far as like the moment where I realized
Yeah, like
like,
this was the path. You know what I
oh
mean?
yeah,
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 or
yeah,
there
yeah.
might
Okay,
not have been
okay.
one moment.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, there definitely was. Q4, man. That's one word. Or I guess two words in that time.
Yeah, two
Right?
two
Like,
uh two letters,
yeah,
yeah, or two.
yeah, two letter. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. So Q4 is like the biggest thing for every seller. I feel like it's like a euphoric moment to where they realize, holy crap, I've been lied to my whole life, right? Like I can really make money doing this. And I feel like prior to Q4, obviously Q1 or like back to school for sure, not Q1 but Q3, back to school was like really, a really life-changing moment too, to where I realized, I could sell 100 of the same thing in an hour or 2 hours, right? And it's just like seeing that is like, all right, cool. Well, how do I do more, right? More of a lot. And one guy I listened to all the freaking times, Alex Hermosi, right? I don't know. I'm sure you guys, yeah,
Oh,
dude's an
of
absolute
course, the
genius.
best. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, dude's the best. And one thing is just more and more and more, right? And it's like once you see what works, just how can I do more of it? And that's kind of what my mindset was. And I was like, that was the moment where I realized, okay, yeah, this is definitely like my path to where I want to get to. And just seeing the orders come in one by one, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it feels good too. When you turn off the like notification sound or even turn off the notifications over all of the sales you do.
It's better than getting your first dunk. All right, if I'm gonna put it that way, it's better than getting.
I'm sorry, that's something Garrett and I will probably never. But yeah, no, for sure. Right.
I had to give you a sample. I had to give you some POV right there.
Yeah. Right. Well, on that topic though, right. In that selling 100 items in one day, right? So selling 100 of the same item in one day, right? That was a fairly simple thing once you did it. But if you think about what initially went to that, you had to have a lot of different parts of an equation that take a while to build. And that's where people struggle is they don't take the time to build that foundation, right? You had to have, that brand ungated, right? Which is doable, obviously, but just in terms like moving parts, right? You had to understand the data of that item. You had to have the capital to buy it and the confidence to buy enough to even sell 100 in one day, which took a lot of test ordering, right? And so that's a perfect example of the curve that goes like flat and then it gets a little steeper and then it starts to exponentially grow if you build that foundation, right? And everything, but you have to go through that process. And that's why I always like to say, man, that this is a 6-month minimum commitment, right? And ideally longer than that, right? Because almost everyone that sticks around longer than that, pretty good things happen, right? But it's a 6-month minimum commitment, man. You got to give yourself some time to get lucky. Give yourself some time to meet some friends. Give yourself some time to build a little momentum, right? And if, you expect it to work sooner than that, you're probably not willing to commit to the process to build the skills, which is the actual key to it working. Right. Yeah. It's not a time thing. It's a skill thing, but building skills takes time.
1,000%. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's the same thing in every, all great things take time. It's being a hooper, man. Like I know I bring this up all the time, but ball really is life because it transitions to everything, bro. It's like, you can't expect to have a good jumper after, a week of practice or 2 weeks of practice. Like it takes time. All great things take time in business, especially. Right. And it's really just not even like I feel like too many guys spread themselves too thin in the beginning too. It's like they don't focus on one thing at a time, and it's like they give up way too soon and they try the next thing, and it's just like you never go anywhere, right?
Yep. But sorry to interrupt, but all business models work, right?
Yeah.
But and business models don't fail, right? People fail. Business models don't succeed. People succeed, right? You could put Hish in most businesses right now, and you'd make money after a little while. Right. Yeah. Same thing with me. I'd like to think, right. Because you have the skills, you have the confidence, right. You have 20 people you could text in your phone right now, right. That have also, or probably more than that, right. That have also succeeded in making money online. Many in other ways too, not just the Amazon space as well too. And everything.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, 100%, you nailed it, right. Like so many guys are like, oh, well, this doesn't work. I'm like, well, I mean, if this doesn't work, then why is X, Y, and Z person doing this, and this? Like at the end of the day, it's like, you're just not working, right? You're not working efficient enough or hard enough or smart enough to make these things happen, right? And business is not fair. Life isn't fair. You got to figure stuff out on your own, and that's just the way it is. Well, I don't want to say on your own, but I mean, like you just got to figure things out, right? And leverage everything that you have around you. That's it.
Have to be alone.
Yeah, doesn't have to be alone, but you have to figure things out. Period. Exactly. So. You know what I mean? And that's the biggest thing too, is like, because I remember you, Miles, when we met in person too, a few months back. I remember you showing me show me a picture of you back in Q4 with like 500. It was ridiculous. Your whole living room was just completely full to the brim. And I mean, for you, I'm sure obviously it's the same thing with every seller. It's like you get the proof of concept, you double down, you scale. And that's where the proof of concept comes. And that's when you really see that, holy crap, this stuff works and I can make it happen.
Yeah, you build a little positive feedback for yourself, right? And that the way I like to think about it, right, is that you do things that you like and you like things that you tend to get good results from, right? So if you get good at selling, the better you get at selling on Amazon, the more money you make because the goal is making money. You have more fun with it because you like it more, you do it more, so you make money. It's a positive flywheel. That's the types of games you want to play in life too, right? Yeah. And so a big component of that, we're talking a little bit about it earlier, right, is, the sellers you're working with, right, and the people you meet, right? So what made you, build the EcomHish brand, right? And, what's that done for you in respect to connections and making, the game of arbitrage easier?
Yeah, I mean, building that has been so sick. Just because obviously, I see pages like Fulfilled or whatever, like they kind of related to Amazon. I put ecom because I know that, Amazon's definitely it's the big piece of the pie, but I mean, I know I want to expand into other sides of ecom too, right? Like we were talking about PL a minute ago and some other ventures too. So I think building that brand has been so amazing as far as like reaching, like you have no idea how many people are out there that have a very, very, very have so many skill sets and so many things that you can learn and just literally be a part of if you put your name out there, right? And I built some lifelong, life altering, to be honest with you, connections simply just by building myself on the internet and obviously building the right connections in place as well. And in due respect, I've been able to help tons of people come in this and kill it too. So it's like building the brand and obviously pumping out content as far as showing people like things that I would have needed when I first started has not only helped so many others, but built so many connections in other avenues of business too, as an entrepreneur, right? I built so many bridges as far as like, okay, well, this is a completely different industry, but I have a connection with a guy that does, and I'm not saying obviously I'm going to spread myself so thin to where I'm going to need that, but just having, they say your network is your net worth, and that's cliche, but it's facts. And my network has just grown so massively to the point where like, it's kind of funny. Like it's just like everyone that I see in person, like, oh, like, I seen you on the internet, and it's just like it builds a really good trust foundation, right? To the point where people can trust you, and you can obviously you have the skill set and you have the proof of discipline to show that you've been there and you've worked out of it. So
Well, as Miles said, it's a living, breathing resume that's
it
continuing
literally
to
is.
build and expand, right? And it doesn't even always have to be educating. It can just be documenting in the beginning, talking about what you're doing, talking about your day, talking about the problems you're running into, how you're going about looking to resolve them. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be educating and coming up with a course on day one, right? It's documenting the growth and just being vulnerable and being transparent. And I think that's the part that attracts so many people, because there's so many people that are in your same position, whether
Yeah.
it's the basketball piece, whether it's the young piece, whether it's the not going to college piece. There's insert anyone that can relate to what you're going through and immediately are going to bond with.
Yeah, 100%. And that's like the beautiful thing about it is, nobody's perfect, and I feel like that's one thing people see. People think of online guys like, oh, this guy must have a perfect life. When in reality, like, you'd be shocked at how extremely similar this person is to you if you just, and that's why I'm saying like you just said, Garrett, just being vulnerable and showing like, okay, like this doesn't work. Like people think they have to show the bright sides all the time, and that's just not realistic, right? Especially in business. So, no, you couldn't have said that better.
Yeah, bro. And the crazy part is it's all of that is free. Like that's the why, like
Extremely
it's
free.
crazy to even think about, right? Okay, this phone
Yeah.
I already use all day to watch other people's stuff. I can talk about what I'm doing, and there's an incredibly good chance that we know social media algorithms are good, that it's going to be shown to other guys, right? So as a beginner Amazon seller, I think one of the best things you can do is build up your own page, right? Do you have to sell something? No, you shouldn't sell something because you know nothing. It should be a tool to find the guys or gals that you wish
1,000%.
lived close to you. And they unfortunately, this is too small community where they don't, but they exist online. So for me being from Pennsylvania, right? Our friend group was Garrett, right? He's in Pennsylvania, Danny in New Jersey, Warner in Arkansas, Jake in California, right? Taylor, who's from New York, Avery from Tennessee, right? And it's like literally like I hadn't, met them in person much or at all prior, right? Now we even only get to see each other a couple times a year and everything. But because this is purely, just on devices and everything, like the business, it just made it so much more fun, made it way easier. You have a guy for everything. You get questions answered, right? People start flocking to help you for free too, which is ironic, right?
Yeah.
And everything. So yeah, right now, if you're a ghost on the internet, you're limiting yourself to only the people who got you thus far in life, which probably isn't where you want to be if you're listening to a podcast all about how to improve your life selling on Amazon, right? So, we've been saying it for years. We're going to continue to say it, right? Use these tools that are available that are free to connect with as many people as possible. And no one ever made less money meeting cool people and everything, period, right? No one ever made less money as a result of that, right? And all that. So it's pretty cool here, right? And then so Hish, if people want to follow up with you and see more out, what you got going on, where can they find you online?
Yeah. EcomHish on Instagram and on YouTube. So I'm most active on Instagram, YouTube. I post a lot of value. I actually I posted a vlog a few days ago, and that
Oh,
was kind
cool.
of too.
That's
So
what's up. Yeah. Right.
vlogging's kind of fun too, man. It's a little Well,
Different.
something it's different for sure, but it's definitely really cool. But yeah, YouTube and Instagram, EcomHish.
Cool. So yeah, you check out, EcomHish right there. And appreciate all you guys watching. Check out Boxem if you haven't already. We got tons of good content coming for 2025. If you guys got any questions, we're obviously happy to help. You can slide in any of our DMs on that. And appreciate you guys watching. Super proud of everything you've done. Hish, scroll back on Hish's page. Look at him get going in the summer of 2023. See what it looked like in the early days, and then you'll see him evolve over time. Same thing if you scroll back on my page. Same thing if you scroll back on Garrett's page. And it's a beautiful thing, man. So thanks for coming on, Hish, and thanks everyone for listening.
Thank you, Miles. Appreciate you for having me. Thanks,
Of course.
Garrett, too.
Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.